I never thought there would come a day when my own son would leave me alone in this world, not with anger, not with hatred, but with silence so deep that it still echoes in every corner of my house. My name is Mira, and this is not just a story, it is my life. Something I still struggle to accept as real. If you are listening to me, then maybe you will understand how love can build a home, and how the same love, when misunderstood, can slowly break it apart. I was only 23 when I lost my husband. A road accident, they said. Quick and instant. As if that made it easier to accept. One moment, I had a complete world. And the next moment, I was standing in a hospital corridor, holding my 2-year-old son Arjun, trying to understand how life could be so cruel. Everyone around me told me to be strong, to move on, to think about my child. And that's exactly what I did. I buried my dreams, my desires, my youth, everything, just to make sure my son never felt the absence of a father. Arjun became my entire world. I worked day and night, sometimes stitching clothes, sometimes cooking in other people's homes, doing anything I could just to earn enough so he could study in a good school. I still remember the nights when I would stay awake just to watch him sleep, wondering if I was doing enough, if I was being both a mother and a father for him. Every small achievement of his felt like a victory to me. His first prize in school, his first speech on stage, even his silly drawings that he would proudly show me. Everything meant more to me than anything else in this world. As he grew older, I made sure he never felt different from other children. I attended every parent-teacher meeting, even when I was tired, even when my hands ached from work. I never told him how hard life was, because I didn't want him to carry that burden. For him, I always smiled. For him, I always said everything was fine. And maybe that was my biggest mistake, because he never saw my struggles. Arjun was a bright child, very intelligent, very focused. His teachers always said he would go far in life, and I believed them with all my heart. I saved every penny I could so that one day he could go to college in a big city, become someone important. I didn't want him to live the life I had lived. I wanted him to fly, even if it meant I would be left behind. When he turned 18, he got admission into a reputed college. I still remember that day. He was so happy and I was proud, but somewhere deep inside, there was a fear I couldn't explain. It was the first time he was going to live away from me, but I didn't let him see that. I packed his bags, prepared his favorite food, and sent him off with a smile. As his bus left, I stood there waving until I could no longer see him. That was the first time I felt what loneliness truly means. At first, he used to call me every day. He would tell me about his classes, his friends, his new life. I would listen to him for hours, even if I was tired, because hearing his voice was enough to make my day better. But slowly, those calls became shorter. Then they became less frequent. And then there were days, sometimes weeks, when he wouldn't call at all. I tried to convince myself that he was busy, that this is how life works, that children grow up and move on. But a mother's heart doesn't understand logic. It only understands connection. I would sit near the phone every evening, hoping it would ring. Sometimes I would dial his number and then cut the call before it connected, just so I wouldn't disturb him. Years passed like this. Arjun completed his studies and got a job in a big company. He sounded different now, more confident, more distant. When he came home after a long time, he brought gifts for me. Expensive ones. Things I had never even imagined owning. But what I wanted wasn't in those bags. I wanted time, I wanted conversation, I wanted my son back. One evening, as we sat together for dinner, I tried to talk to him. I asked him about his life, his plans, his future. He answered politely, but there was a wall between us that I couldn't break. I gathered the courage to ask him something that had been in my heart for a long time. I asked him if he would ever come back and stay with me. He smiled, but it wasn't the smile I knew. It was a smile of practicality, of reality. He said, life doesn't work that way anymore. He said he had responsibilities, ambitions, a career to focus on. He said I should understand. And I did understand. At least I tried to. But understanding doesn't make the pain go away. That night, after he went to sleep, I sat alone in the same room where I had spent years raising him. I looked at the walls, the old photographs, the memories that were still alive for me, but had already faded for him. And for the first time, I asked myself a question I had never dared to ask before. Had I given him everything except the ability to feel my love? I didn't know then that this was just the beginning, that the distance I felt that night would soon turn into something much deeper, something that would change my life forever. I didn't know that one day, my son, the reason I lived, would walk out of my life not with anger, not with harsh words, but with a silence that would break me in ways I never thought possible. And maybe the hardest part of all of this is that even today, I don't hate him. I still wait for him. I still believe that one day he will come back, sit beside me, and talk to me like he used to when he was a child. Because a mother's love doesn't end, no matter how far her child goes.